Hello everybody, welcome to my weird wonderful world. And the idea for this video came from a couple of different inspirations. One today, of course, was watching I watch Mojo, and they had, you know, the top 10 worst songs on great albums. Yeah, I watched that today, and a couple of things in my list are from that. But I kind of went in a little bit of a different direction than uh, than what they're going to do. As you see in the thumbnail, I put not just bad albums. Okay, I mean, sorry, bad songs on good albums, but weird songs on good albums. Okay, and mind you, right from the start. I don't have any problem with these songs. I don't think they really are that bad, or most of them, I don't really find them that bad, or they don't take anything away from the album at all for me. And in fact, I find they make the album a little bit special, and it makes them what they are, makes them a little bit more distinctive and more unique, and not your same old. I think it adds character. So I don't disparage any of these extra tracks. Now I just want to get the obvious out of the way. I don't really want to. I'm not putting Tool in this category. I could have mentioned Tool, but almost everything from Tool. I'll go through this really quickly. You have the oddball of a secret song, which I'll get to that in a minute, okay? You got the oddball of a secret song that's really bizarre, but it's a song number 7 called The Gaping Lotus Experience, and it's different, but it's a secret song. So we'll get back to that concept in a second, or whether or not that counts or not, okay? And then you get, of course, this is a rocking album right through. But then you get to the last song, Disgustipated, and it goes in a completely different direction, but still very much like them. And it's still kind of normalish, and I don't necessarily skip anything on that. I mean, yeah, I only played the first third of Disgustipated, and once the crickets and the campfire very subtly in the background kind of start, that's where I usually turn it off. I don't even go and listen to it to the end, to the poem stuff, because that's inconsequential. I'm just here for the album. I mean, these totally could count, right? And then you get all these little interludes, like all these little in between the songs, like like the starting with the Useful Idiot, for example. I'm just gonna open that up for a second so I can look at the track listing. Then you got like a message to Harry Manback. You get the intermission. You have the Dire Von Satan. You have the Cesario Summability. You have negative ions. And, this has like you sometimes I like to program those out and just play the songs. All these little interludes. I mean, did they need it? Did they have to make the album like that? No, but they did anyway. Does it really detract and take away from the album? No, it makes it an awesome album. I can still put the whole thing on, and listen to the entire thing, and it doesn't bother me at all. I find it sounds normal to me. It does. None of the songs are really that bad. Oh, I mean, of course, I prefer the actual songs, but that's neither here nor there. This is a little bit more of the normal one, of course, with only a couple of little detours with the mantra. I mean, I love that little. I mean, I am on this list. I am not counting instrumentals because they are a fundamental part of an album, and it does not count it at all. So, Eon Blue Apocalypse would not count. But mantra, that kind of weird mowing, is kind of is weird. And then you get to the last track, which is Faib de Ouad, which is that little excerpt from the Art Bell's Coast to Coast with Art Bell. That when that guy called in, which I found out years later that it was a prank. It was just a con art. I forget the guy's name now, but yeah, it was all a prank. It was all just to kind of stir the pot a little bit. It wasn't a, it was fake. but Art Bell didn't know it was fake. It was a prank, by the guy who called, and yeah, yeah. So, but it's a weird little way to end the album. But again, it's part of the album, and again, I don't really count Tool. I mean, I know I'm taking a little bit of time out of this video to talk about it. But I do want to throw in on this one. This one will count for this album on 10,000 Days because when you get to Limpid Conjuring is like, I don't know. For me, it's just a hard left in the album. Once that Native American chanting kicks in, you know, it really doesn't fit with the album for me. It's just I don't know. It goes off just a little too far on the left side, and I don't know. It does. I will admit, it takes me out of the album. It does. And then I'm not counting chocolate chip trips on this the sixth track on the album. And then of course they have all that cool weird download stuff, which is just weird soundscapes and musical interludes. But I'm not counting those. Okay. Now talking again. Let's go. Let's bring this back up with the secret song. Now, in the Watch Mojo, the next two albums that I'm going to show you, I'm also not counting in the list, of course, because they're secret songs. Yes, they are the worst songs on the album, okay, but they're secret songs, so I'm not counting them. So there's Endless Nameless, which is a secret song at the end after Something in the Way. You let it play, and Endless Nameless, you know, it's terrible in a sense. It's just kind of yelling and cacophony-ish and a lot of just extreme noise. Doesn't really follow, but it's a secret song. You got your full album. If you want to stop it after Something in the Way, stop it there, and you don't have to put up with it. You know. And the same thing with All by Myself on Dookie, which I just bought today, and watch my last video where I just opened it up not even a half an hour ago. So yeah, All by Myself, which is if you leave FOD play after that, it's All by Myself, which, yeah, again, a terrible song, but it's a secret song. I don't think it counts. It's extra. It's a bonus. It's not in the album to take away from the album. You already have your full album. You can stop it right as soon as the album is done, and not have to worry about the bonus stuff. That's just my opinion, okay? Now we're going to actually get into the meat and potatoes. And I have a whole bunch of examples here, and these all do count in its own way. Now, mind you, again, to me, I don't really see it as, I may see it as an oddball, as a weird track in an album, okay, but necessarily bad. No, I think almost every one of these tracks is a part of the album, and I like them for what they are. Could they be considered the worst tracks? Yes, but calling them the worst tracks on the album, you know, it's subjective. It's subjective. I don't really think them as bad as most people might. Let's bring this one up right away as having one of the, you know, you got Revolution 9. It's an oddball, weird song that a lot of people don't like, and they think it's the worst song on the album, and they skip it. Some also could argue the continuing story of Bungalow Bill, or how about Piggies. Some people might consider those also weak songs on this album. But this album is what it is. You know, is it overbloated? No, I don't consider it. I think it is a masterpiece in its entirety, and every song, whether it's weird or not, okay, makes this what it is. And you can't really, this cannot be, as it is, without those songs. You know, it's extra stuff. You know, you're getting your Beatles. Okay, you're getting all that Beatles stuff because it's in two albums. You know, there's more than an album's worth of Beatles stuff, but it's on two discs, right? So you're getting extra, even if it's not better, if it's not like necessarily better. Um, and I'm continuing with the Beatles here. How about "Run for Your Life"? To tack it on at the end of the album, and people, I don't see a problem with it. I have no problem with it at all. I actually kind of like it, but some people criticize it. Oh, what that? Why put "Run for Your Life" on? You know, they it wasn't necessary. You could have left it off and it would have been fine. No, it is what it is, and it's an extra song. You know, why not? Why not? Even if it is the worst song on the album, it still makes the album. Same same thing with putting the Yellow Submarine on here that they subsequently, you know, made a full album about and a movie, an animated movie for such a silly kid song. And I'll state it right there. It is a kid song, and some people say, well, it has no business being on Revolver, but yet there it is. But I love it. I love it. I don't disparage it at all. And then we'll get to and then also let's get to Maxwell's Silver Hammer. You know, yeah, I understand, but I like it. I think it's a catchy little song, and there's nothing wrong with it. Not in my eyes, not the way I hear it. You know, so I just want to get those out of the ways first and foremost. Now, the second inspiration besides the Watch Mojo video that I watched today that also inspired me to make this video is when I gave Larry Graves for the album review. The last thing I gave him, okay, was this, the Bob Mould, the Last Dog and Pony Show, which I love. I love. But the third to last song, Mega Manic, okay, is such a wide left, again another wide left turn, and that it's like some people it takes them right out of the album. I don't mind it. I don't ever skip it. I think it makes the album what it is. and and Larry Graves, when he heard this, okay, he subsequently gave this album an 8.5 out of 10, which I think is a great score for an album review. He actually really enjoyed it. I think he may have docked a couple of points just because of Mega Manic, but even then, he didn't mind it that much at all. He said, "Yeah, it's not as good as the rest of the album. It kind of is a weird detour." But when they made the album, okay, they were getting kind of disillusioned, and the album wasn't coming along good. So at one point, you know, they kind of for fun, just for fun, for a joke, did a weird song called Megamatic, and they say, yeah, we're gonna put that on the album, and it made them, the people making this album, feel better about making this album. But I think this is a killer album. I really love it. It's probably in my top three favorite Bob Mould albums. The self titled album is great, and I really love Beauty and Ruin. I think these three are awesome albums. All right, now let's talk about one of my first couple of experiences with an kind of oddish track being on a great album. Okay, now, even back in the day, the first time I heard this, of course, you're a little kid. I'm a little 4 or 5 year old kid hearing this for the first time, not realizing how, yeah, not realize. No, maybe I could have been like 3 or 4, not realizing how odd this song is on this album. When my uncle brought this over, and again, I have to repeat that I need to put a better case on this. It kills me that it's so scratched and fuzzy, you know. But yeah, when you're talking about kissing time, and of course, it's because that's a cover song that they thought would be fun. but it's such an oddball. I love the love theme from Kiss because it's a cool little instrumental, and like I said, instrumentals don't count. But yeah, kissing time. It's just a when years later when you're re-listening to this album and you come up to that song, and if you don't know that it's a cover song, it's just such a different tone compared to the rest of the album. It's such a different little beast. And that's because it is a cover song, and I did not know that for the longest time. But then you have a couple of albums that are normal, and then you get to Destroyer. And for me personally, it was a big success. It's not and like it was by no means at all considered a bad song. It actually is the one thing that made them popular, more so than Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day. It was Beth on Destroyer. Beth being such a, you're playing this album for the first time, okay? And this is before hearing it on the radio and that, I knew the first, yeah, as soon as I got this album for the first time and played it, and then you get to Beth, and I'm like, what? And then you hear it. You was hearing it all the time on the radio. Beth, and not knowing who was really singing it, or I'm a kid. But Beth was just a weird, oddball song to be on. Like, yeah, they never did a song so soft. It was so soft and unlike them. It's like what's going on? So yeah, Beth for me personally is one of those weird little side things that like they went in that direction. I mean, yeah, okay, and after that they didn't really ever go back quite as well. They kind of did somewhat here and there with Beth, but yeah. But before that, before Beth, I saw Kiss in a different way. I mean, they have made sort of other ballads somewhat like Beth after that, but before Beth, yeah, no way. um, let's talk about FX. To me, it doesn't bother me. It's just a little thing in such a great album. So what if they have a weird thing called FX and what they were doing with it? It doesn't bother me at all. I think it's still a cool album regardless, and people might skip it, my people might not like it, whatever. Some people, and I did some research online about some of these. Some people don't like take up thy stethoscope and walk off of the Pipers at the Gates of Dawn. Like why not? Again, it's an oddball, weird kind of track to throw into an album like this. I mean, it's such great stuff on this. Bike, I love Bike. Interstellar Overload is awesome. Of course, Astronomy Domine is my favorite song on the album, hands down. Of course. But yeah, yeah. So take up thy stethoscope and walk. Still good though. I still really like it. This came up. A lot of people thought that on this, and I like this album. When I played this a couple of times since I've gotten it, and I believe I got yeah. This is what I ended up getting this from Larry Graves in that package. But Blonde on the Tracks, yeah, it has the Lily, Rosemary, and the Jack of Hearts. 8 minutes and 50 seconds of a different tone that a lot of people don't really like. They say it's the one song off the album that just kind of goes again, takes that little bit of a left turn. Again, when I played it, I really didn't notice. It seemed it seemed a little different than the rest, but it didn't raise any alarms. So I'm wondering why it's on some people's list of weird songs that they don't like on an album. I don't know. Okay. Now, I mentioned on a comment with Larry Graves that I considered all the Doors albums pretty equal. They each have their very strong points and very strong songs, and they each have their slight weaknesses. Okay, but I do consider all the Doors albums equally. but I do have to I do have to scratch my head a little bit and then say, what's up with the horse off of Strange Days? What's up with Horse Latitudes? I know it's only a minute and a half long. It's only a minute. Yeah, it's only a minute and a half long. It's a weird poem that Jim Morrison wrote when he was a kid about a ship that they were pushing horses off of the ship. But okay, okay. It is a weird little detour on this album. You know, everything else is pretty consistent with with their tone and everything. And to be right between Unhappy Girl and Moonlight Drive, like the kind of set up Moonlight Drive. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Or was Horse Latitudes the last song on side one, or was it Moonlight Drive last song on side one? Yeah, no, side two would start with People Are Strange. That's right. That's right. So yeah, so it pretty much sets up Moonlight Drive, which is weird. Yeah, Horse Latitudes, strange song. A lot of people were bringing up Lady. It ain't easy. Yeah, it ain't easy off of Ziggy Stardust here. Now, I don't know. Again, when I listened to it, okay, when I first got this a few weeks ago, I didn't detect any weirdness. I mean, yeah, again, it sounded a little different than the rest of the album, but it wasn't like, it didn't raise any alarms. It didn't raise any red flags singing, oh, it's a bad song. No, I didn't even think of that. I enjoyed the entire album, even that song. So I don't know what people are talking about with that one. Yeah, it's a little different, but bad? No, no. People bring out the grunge off of Houses of the Holy, the grunge as being or the crunch, yeah, the crunch. Sorry, I'm saying grunge. It's the crunch as being one of those weird oddball songs on this album that just if they would have cut it out, it probably made the album better, you know. But whatever. Again, I can listen to it and it doesn't bother me. Yeah, it's a little bit different. It may take you out of the album a tiny bit, but I have no problem with it. Um, this is probably, I would say, this next one I'm going to show here, probably my least. It probably is my least favorite song from this band. And I kind of do understand. I mean, a couple of things from this album. It's such a great opener though. The first few songs on there, the first side, and even a couple of songs off the second side is okay. But yeah, off of "Hold Your Fire" from Rush, you got the Tai Shan, the second to last song. Oh yeah, I have a hard time getting through that one. That one I kind of agree with. It is a bit of a bad song on a not even a great album, but even like it's one of their weaker albums. I still like it. Of course, I mean, I still love Forest 10, Time Stand Still, Prime Mover is good, Lock and Key is good. I mean, I still kind of like Mission, but when you get to Tai Shan, even Turn the Page, you know. So that one I do agree with. Now I completely disagree with this one. I actually kind of find this as one of my favorite songs in many respects on this album. That is not of their entire career, but when it comes to Ride the Lightning, a lot of people kind of attack Escape as being a bad song that's kind of weird and different on the album. Again, when I first heard this, I didn't make any distinction. It was still a part of the album, and I didn't see any real difference from that song than the rest of the songs. They were still in the same style to me. They were still heavy and had that cool groove. You know, I love that groove. That da 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 da. I love it. I don't know. I love it. I like it. I have no problem with that song. But yeah, but but the band, like James Hetfield really criticizes that song and had tried to vow never to ever play it on in live ever again. You know, it was like, okay, I think it's a great song myself personally. This one I can agree with that. When you get to this song, okay, you're like, oh wow, really? And it's like, oh, okay, you're gonna end your album, your double album, okay, with this song. And I'm talking about Use Your Illusion 2 and My World. My World? Really? Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna dwell on that. I've been talking for 25 minutes now. I'm just going to wrap it up really quickly. So my last one here, my last two, my last one here for this. I still got one more after this, but I got Out of Time, okay, from REM, and a lot of people kind of crap on Shiny Happy People. Track number 6. Shiny happy people. They think it's annoying. They don't, you know. It has that singer from the B-52s helping them out. But I always liked it. I always liked that song. There's nothing wrong with it for me. You know, it's a decent song. I mean, I like it just as much as any other song on there. So for me, it's not a bad song, but it does get on people's list of bad songs that people like on great albums, you know. And then last but not least, okay, this is not actually a part of that, but it is for me personally a song that kind of like makes me scratch my head on. I like the whole album, but that one particular song on this last one here, I'm going to show you, kind of ah I can listen to it, but I find it can be one of it is the weirdest, annoyingest kind of the I would say the most annoying song I would own, and it's off of Battles here off Mirrored. The album's called Mirrored, and I'm talking about D Diamond D in the third track, and what makes it heartbreaking for me is right between Atlas and Tonto, right between Atlas and Tonto, right in between my two favorite songs off the album, of course, and it's right in between them. And it kind of goes like you know, over and over again in a weird way. I mean, it's not that it's terrible exactly, but it's just such a oh, I don't know. It just really kind of shakes it there, shakes everything up, and says this is not normal. It's not a normal album. There's going to be all weird, oddball things in there. And it is. It's an oddball band, but I love them. I love them. Okay, that's it. I've talked for almost a half an hour now. By the time I let you go, it will be a half an hour. I can't not sometimes make not long videos, especially when I have a lot to talk about. I like to drag it out a little bit. I try to keep them short, but it doesn't always work out. But anyways, you know I love you guys out there, all of you. And if you haven't considered subscribing to my channel yet, please do. I will greatly appreciate it and love you forever. Please hit that like button. Don't be afraid to hit the like button. Leave comments because I will try and get to everybody's comments as much as I can. You know, at least, the very least, leave you a channel heart, you know, to let you know that I liked your comment and that to give me more. And as always, please be safe. Take care. I will see you on the flip side. And please, everybody, have a great day, evening, morning, night, or afternoon, wherever you may be. Peace, everybody.